Hill.
Yeah.
Hill. Live from Wokeback Mountain. It's a Woke Data Thursday here at August 18th, 2022 Plaza in downtown everywhere. Today in the show, we dig deep into our bag of conspiracy-scented anti-ESG woke wars. I don't know what's happening anymore, Matt. Featuring Matt Mascardi's anti-woke rabbit hole of the week, the Upright Citizens Corporate Citizenship Brigade. Is that right? Is that the name? I don't know what's going on.
It's all right. Look,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna
help us out here.
Normally, we have we do a tremendous amount of pre-production work, and we
Well, we
organize
did that.
a show. And
We didn't organize
Well,
anything.
we did. Well, I mean, we organize a show, and we have our daily bits that we go through. We do this every single day. We're very dedicated to it, bringing the nobody who listens the information they need. Today. Yesterday, I was going to put out a show in Damien's absence, which I did on Monday and Tuesday.
I wish you had, because now I'm pulled into it today, and I wish
Yesterday,
you had just
I am not joking, and I have a full-time job. I spent 5 hours researching some anti-woke stuff and went down all these deep rabbit holes, and it was insanity. I have no idea. I came out with nothing concrete. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the things the rabbit hole I went down, and how confusing it was.
Get to it quickly.
Because
Because nobody wants. This is like hearing someone's dream. I don't want to hear
is.
too much of your friggin' dream. All right. Just
All right.
cut to
Here's
the
what I
chase.
did. Here's what I did. Here's a story I read yesterday that prompted all this.
We're
Headline
in the
was,
dream already. Yeah.
Nebraska state senators urge divestment from Genstar Capital over ISS ESG policies.
Genstar
And-
Capital. Can I at least out what I know about Genstar Capital?
Yes.
They are one of the owners of ISS.
They're the owner of ISS.
How big? Do you know how big their stake is?
I think it's more than 50%. They're a majority.
Oh, I didn't
owner.
realize that. Got
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Okay.
And I got there by looking at another article that said states fight back against woke ESG investing. So this is all
Really?
part of the state legislatures fighting ESG investing because it discriminates against what? Dinosaur goo? I don't know what it's.
I don't even know.
Apparently
That's a
they
great
hate it. It's too
question.
woke. It's too woke. So what I did was I read all about this Nebraska story. And apparently, some Nebraska state senators were a letter was sent to them by something called the Corporate Citizenship Project. The
Right. They also have
CCP.
They do a comedy improv, right, in the Upper East Side, don't they do something like that? Or is
That's
that
on
something
Thursday
different?
nights. This is something.
Okay.
This is what
Got
they
it.
do from the rest of the week.
Okay.
The Corporate Citizenship Project, which I'm going to call CCP because it's too hard to say.
Corporate Citizenship Project.
It's too hard to say that every
Yeah.
time. The CCP
Mm-hmm.
was their chair is Terry Branstad. He was the governor of Iowa for a long time. He was Trump's ambassador to China. CCP, Chinese Communist Party. This is where it started to evolve really quickly.
Yeah,
into
be
conspiracy
careful.
theory.
Be careful.
Conspiracy theories for me. Terry Branstad starts this organization. He's also started the American Free Enterprise Chamber of Commerce, the alternative to the actual Chamber of Commerce, which apparently was too woke. So they started
The right-wing version of the
further
right-wing
right.
Chamber of
Yeah.
Commerce? Okay.
it's a
I'm with you.
further right Chamber of Commerce.
Further right.
So they're pushing even
It's
further
like
out.
off Broadway.
I think they're off Broadway in Iowa. It's Broadway in Iowa.
That's what I said. Off Broadway.
So this CCP group writes a letter to the Nebraska state senators urging divestment from Genstar Capital. And because they're woke in ESG and all this stuff, and they put it, up for vote or something. The story stopped mattering really quickly when I started to get into who CCP was. CCP lists 3 people on their website. And remember, this is an anti-woke outlet. If you look up the Corporate Citizenship Project, you'll see like article after article after article, mostly press releases that they put out talking about how ESG is not transparent, needs to stop, how they're just, it's all anti-woke propaganda, okay? There are 3 people listed on their website. Terry Branstad, the president of the group, named who they list as Gada Salahuddin. I'm going to butcher that name. I don't know how to say that.
CEO, right?
it says president on the website, but she has listed herself as CEO in a lot of the press releases and articles and quotes. And then the third person is somebody named Brian Junis.
I gotta say that,
is like an analyst.
This is exciting because, well, I see her name as Rashida, but
she's got two names that she lists.
Well, but can I just say this is exciting because, black female CEO. This is exciting. This is actually.
You would think so.
This is confusing because, I'm already confused. I'm just confused.
Well, you would think so. So when you look at the press releases, there's a picture of a young, like mid-20s to mid-30s at the oldest, right? Young black woman with a nose ring, and that's like the picture of Rashida Salahuddin or Gada Salahuddin, whatever. I don't know. Maybe the same person. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
There's this picture of this woman. I did a Google image search for that woman, and the only picture that shows up is that picture, right? Like, there's no other picture. In fact, when you search for the president of the CCP, which is the anti-woke, one of the anti-woke spokespeople now, you find no internet presence for this person.
Yeah.
She doesn't exist anywhere.
And let me point out that in her bio, it says that she has spent most of her career in public affairs, working for a diverse array of companies, including financial services, entertainment, and energy. Usually we list the names of the companies that we've worked for. We don't just say we worked at companies.
And when you've worked for companies, even if you didn't list the name of them, it suggests that you've been working for a while. But the picture, I'm conservatively saying she's like 27 years old. Like, there's no way she's been like... she's not like a 50-year-old...
Get off of
whatever. Okay,
Get over
so here's what I did. I was looking all over the place for information about this group because they are influencing legislators in a state to force divestment of a company because of ESG.
Got it.
And this is when I noticed two things. First, I noticed that in every one of their press releases, they only list one ESG company. ESG. They list ISS.
Yes.
Institutional Shareholder Services. They only ever list ISS.
Yes.
So every single one of their things is like, have you been reading about ESG investing? You know, it's like we need to be careful. We want transparency. Companies like ISS, for instance, aren't transparent and are providing these ratings. Like, it's always like, but an example would be ISS. ISS did this thing. Yeah. And it got me into this space where I was
BlackRock,
like,
just ISS.
First of all, you're missing the train. Everybody is anti-Larry Fink right now. Like, why are you anti-ISS? In fact, the president of CCP, Ms. Salahuddin, wrote a letter to the CEO of ISS and released the letter as a press release. Now, whether or not the letter actually went to the president of ISS, I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
The press release certainly went out with the full letter asking for some stuff. And the stuff they asked for was like, why didn't you downgrade Russia after the Ukraine war for ESG? And this is why ESG's not transparent enough and the models don't work. It's something like that, right?
Yeah, it's like little gotcha. It's like kind of Sarah Palin kind of gotcha journalism.
So this is the first thing that struck me. They only mention ISS, and the thing that they influenced the Nebraska state legislators to do was to divest from one company for ESG reasons. One company for like this anti-woke, anti-ESG reason. And it was Genstar Capital, the owner of ISS. So I start thinking, is she like an ex-ISS employee? Does she work for... Is she like disgruntled?
I think it's more likely that Terry Branstad has something against that. Because ISS used to be the lightning rod for hate in this industry. It's ISS has sort of gone away. Part of it is they've changed ownership so many times. Now they're private again. People have kind of forgotten about them. Now BlackRock seems to be the one that people love to hate. But something must have happened back in the day, right?
Well, yeah.
But do you think Rashida's a real? First of all, do you think Rashida's a real person? I mean,
that's the second thing that occurs to me as I'm doing this research.
Yeah. Well, at least quickly tell us the story of you trying to reach out to her yesterday.
So the second thing that occurs to me is after like doing a Google image search, looking for this person all over the place. She's the president of this company. In fact, the Nebraska thing, they said ISS's ESG policies harm Nebraska's beef industry. It's the same thing as like they're discriminating against fossil fuels only in Nebraska. So they're discriminating against the beef industry, and it's only ISS they name. And they say you should divest from Genstar because whatever. I went to look for, is this person real? Every press release actually has a phone number. So after doing all the searching for her on the internet, I just decided to call. And I called. And someone picked up. And I said, hi, my name is Matt Mascardi. I'm with Free Float Media. We do podcasts. We're tiny. I represented myself, said, what I was about. And I was like, is this Miss Gada Salahuddin? And apologies if I'm butchering your name. I've only read it, so I don't know how to say it. And she said, who is this? Why are you calling me? And I said, well, so we do like ESG related news and podcasts and stuff. And I know you work for the CCP and you do all this stuff with, ESG and how it's hurting whatever. And we'd love to talk to us. We just love to talk. And she said, first she said, do you usually just call first? Why didn't you? My email is there. Why didn't you send me an email?
But Matt, her number is everywhere on the internet. I've seen
her
that.
number's there. I wouldn't have called if it wasn't
every
there.
Press release is that 515 number.
And first of all, we're also media. Does she expect the media is like? I didn't realize the media was only supposed to write emails first.
Well, isn't this why you put out press releases? Aren't you looking for attention? Aren't you looking to tell your story? Aren't you looking? Yeah, isn't that why you put your phone number in the press release?
But I do know that she, after saying why did you call, and I said, I saw your email or your phone number everywhere. I did see your email, but I thought it'd be easier to just call and see if you wanted to talk. It would also be great to have you on a podcast or just have a conversation about some of these things. And she said, put all your questions in an email. I prefer to do this on email. Send me an email. Thank you. Goodbye. Right. That kind of thing.
She should
and
consider
then when she hung up.
Yeah. Go ahead.
When I hung up the phone, I realized she never said who she was.
Right.
She actually never said her name.
Right.
She just said, who is this? And this is why I'm not a real journalist, right? I'm not a real. She said, who are you?
She picked up. I give her credit for picking up.
So then
why bother?
Out, I don't know, but then I reached out to Brian Junis, who's supposed to be the analyst on LinkedIn. He actually has a LinkedIn profile, and his LinkedIn profile has him at CBRE, the real estate company, and he does a bunch of things. But he doesn't list anything about this corporate citizenship project.
Would you?
Well, I mean, if you're the head analyst for it, and he's quoted in the news, he's in the news. He said things on the record for them.
Still, give him some credit.
So, in fact, they put out a press release that says they appointed him their head analyst or whatever.
Right.
But he wrote back on LinkedIn. I said, hi, apologies for the cold call, but I'm wondering if you're the same Brian Junis of the CCP. And he just wrote back, yes. And then I wrote him again saying, I'd love to talk to you. I said the same kind of things. I reached out to Miss Salahuddin, whatever. And I haven't heard back. Yeah. And the only person left is Terry Branstad, who I know is a real person.
Yeah, and he's definitely not going to talk to you.
But he's definitely not going to talk. There's no way he's coming on our stupid
show. He's the ambassador to China. Yeah, he's going to reject you.
But here's the point.
Yeah, what is the point?
Some point somewhere.
Yeah,
right?
I'm afraid. Go ahead.
They have press releases out. They're spending thousands of dollars on press releases.
Everywhere. I saw one on graphicdesignusa.com.
It's on farmexec.com. Pharmaceutical executive. They're writing these op-eds and press releases. They're everywhere, and it's all of them mention an anti-ISS thing. They only mention ISS, and all of them are about this kind of ESG movement.
We gotta take it down. We gotta fight
this anti-woke thing.
We gotta fight the fight.
Here's my point.
Yeah.
The front of the anti-woke movement, I'm increasingly convinced, and this is the rabbit hole that you and I went down. I went down it yesterday, and you went down it today.
I'm still in.
Is six people.
I'm doing it while you're speaking. I'm still looking around.
It's literally I feel deeply that there's 6 people who've set up 30 shell organizations. They all have websites. They all do stuff. We were looking at this group's second vote today.
Yeah.
They are all about proxy voting, but for your conservative values instead of your liberal values. Not that anyone's ever voted on a liberal value per se. They all vote for disclosure. They don't actually say, company, can you change? Because that doesn't work. They say, can you disclose something? That's all they say. That's
just
all
we want to know.
ESG
We just
is,
want to know.
right? We just want to know
Let
some more.
investors know so they can make the decision they need to make.
So now, ironically, Second Vote is out there voting for more disclosure about how companies are doing political donations and
Right.
stuff like that. The same campaign that the ESG community.
Well, they're all
Data
asking
people have been
for the
asking
same thing. They're all asking for more and more disclosure. That's what they all.
But my point is,
yeah.
we are running around in circles about this anti-woke thing in the ESG data community. They're legislating. There's the attorney generals of a dozen states have pushed back against it. They're looking to divest from companies that are too woke. This whole movement
Whatever
is
that
actually
means.
the new critical race theory in America. Republicans are just saying ESG and using it as a blanket liberal boogeyman, the same way
Right.
they use CRT as a blanket liberal boogeyman.
So what is your point? You promised a
But
point.
the talking points are coming from 3 people who have 40 fronts and don't exist.
Who
That-
may or may not
they've
have worked
never-
anywhere and know anything about
and
anything.
they know nothing about anything.
Or yeah.
They don't list a job. They even Brian Junis, who I really want these people to join our show. Come on
I
the
thought you
show.
could say I really love Brian. Wait,
No,
before you
I-
get
I
to
want
that,
him to
can I?
join.
Yeah. Can I
But,
ask you a
but
question?
Brian Junis lists as his ESG experience. He worked with a green energy company securing investor funding once. That's not ESG experience. That's not
Right.
ESG experience. That's not
I got 2 points I got to get off my chest. First of all, in the rabbit hole that I'm also in, you see things like I was on the Science and Environmental Policy Projects page. There's a lot of projects going on in
There's
this world.
millions. That's
A
what I'm
lot of
saying. There's a
projects.
million projects. Yeah.
And they don't seem to be up to anything other than just being upset. But they say, contrary to frequent attacks, we do not receive support from oil, tobacco, or chemical companies. Blah, blah, blah. Go look at our IRS tax filings. They're open to public inspection. This is their way of saying, we can
we're
prove it.
transparent. Yeah.
But I went there, and, well, first of all, they have $3 million invested in publicly traded securities, but we don't know which ones, unfortunately, because they're probably all, quote-unquote, woke.
It's Apple.
But second of all, they list that they get donations, but they don't even tell you who the donations are from. But so this is all these are just all tricks on tricks on tricks. Maybe they're just meant for idiots like us to just run around looking for a loose end, and then we don't get our real jobs done. We stop our woke ESG stuff, and we just chase their tail.
The goal is to distract us so much
Yeah,
from doing our jobs that we can't get anything woke
And
done.
without us, the ESG industry will come crumbling down, right? I mean, MSCI, Sustainalytics, Glass Lewis, they're all going to come crashing down if we're not active. We know
that's
this,
definitely
right?
true.
That's
Definitely.
obvious.
Well, here's the thing. Terry Branstad very clearly has set himself up in this anti-woke camp. He started now at least 2 organizations that I can find, if not more, that are anti-woke. But
It's
when
like a
you go down
retirement
the
thing,
rabbit
yeah.
hole,
Yeah.
when you go, it's not just retirement, because when you go down the rabbit hole, so here was a story from 4 days ago, 5 days ago. Teal, this is in Bloomberg Law. Teal-backed firm debuts anti-ESG ETF to urge more drilling. We talked about it on the show. It's Vivek Ramaswamy's Strive Capital or whatever, and they launched something called the Strive U.S. Energy ETF with the ticker DRLL, drill, right?
Yeah.
So Bloomberg Law is writing an article. Bloomberg is writing an article about anti-ESG ETFs urging more drilling. Bloomberg didn't do. First of all, number one, Peter Thiel is one of these, Terry Branstad. It's one of the backers, right?
I'm worried where you're going with this one.
Everywhere. He's
You're spinning out
everywhere
of control
funding
on this
all
one.
the stuff, right?
Yeah.
Number 2, Bloomberg. Did you look at the ETF that you say is an anti-ESG ETF urging more drilling? Did you open up one filing from that ETF? Because I did. And when you look at how the index is constructed, something like 30% of the index is solar, wind, renewable energy. It is
Right, but-
an energy ETF in the U.S., all energy.
Yeah, but you're taking the fun out of this. This is like you're taking the fun out of the war. Like this is a clickbait war. Like you can't do actual research here, Matt. I mean,
But that's my point. Like
Yeah.
we have these fronts that make the talking points that create a war. Like we've created sides. There's
the media needs conflict.
anti-woke and the woke.
Yeah.
There's the ESG and the ESG get out of my lawn groups. There's the Peter Thiel, Terry Branstads, and there's the Larry Finks, Jamie Dimons, right? Like
Right.
we've created camps.
How come
But
no
if
one's
you
ever mad at
do-
us? I want more people to be mad at us.
Because no one listens. Because if you do 4 seconds of research, they're all doing the same exact thing.
I
The
need to
investment
cut
funds
you
are
off
the
now.
same.
Yeah.
The proxy voting is the same. You're asking for transparency.
Your
You're
boring
invested
dream-
in solar.
Your boring dream has gone for too long now. I think you have anxiety or something. So let's
I
move
can't-
on.
I'm in a deep hole. I'm in a hole.
Here's the big takeaway, and this
There's
is
no
what we
big
really
takeaway.
need to talk about. The corporate upright citizens. What are they? Corporate
The corporate citizenship project.
Christian communist. Okay.
The Chinese Communist Party. Yeah.
They have an article, Matt, that sounds like one of us. Maybe one of us wrote it. It just says by Adam. Or maybe one of us
Who's
is
that?
Adam.
Who's Adam?
We could pass for an Adam.
It's just Adam? That's weird.
Here's the article, Matt. Why does ISS have an all-white management team? That's us.
Yes.
That's what we do. So they're mad because ISS talks a big game on the issue of diversity, and yet they have an all-white management team. So Matt, what are we going to do about this? They're now parroting our research and talking points. So do you realize that we're all saying the same thing? So what are we going to do? What is this? And what does it all mean?
Oh, well, here's the thing.
No, don't dodge the question.
Gary Ratelny, who's the CEO of ISS, is from
Yeah.
Nicaragua,
Okay.
which he looks like a white guy. My guess is they looked at the pictures and they were like, "You're all white."
They did say they
He's
appear. They do say they appear to look white. So they.
He's not a white guy.
Okay, but
He's
that's not
from
the point.
Nicaragua.
The point is that they're doing our game.
But they're not even
both-
doing it well.
but how
like
is it that?
Reed.
What is the end game here? What are we all upset about? I don't even understand anymore.
The end game is votes. That's
So
it. It's policy and votes. It's incumbency. That's my problem with the whole thing. These are fronts for incumbency. And they're winning. The anti-woke are better at this than we are. They are very good at separating out, because they didn't do, see, the difference between them and us, they put out a press release saying ISS is all white and we need clarification how
Yeah.
this woke group can be all white, whatever. We read the bio of the CEO of ISS and found out he's from Nicaragua and said, oh, they're not all white. They're mostly white, and that's probably not great, but they're not all white, right? There's diversity there. We did the next thing, which was 1 second of research. They don't care about the 1 second of research because they're winning the argument.
Yeah.
You tuned me out
Okay,
like
that's
20
it?
minutes ago. That's it.
Yeah, I don't. But that you think they're winning the argument by what? How are they winning the argument?
Because
Because
they are
exist?
everywhere and we don't exist. Like,
But we're probably
we did the
are
same
we the only
shtick
ones
and no
who-
one cares.
But there's always been. I mean, this is just a part of the ongoing Cold War political battle that is left versus right. Right? Is there anything new here?
No, there's
ESG
nothing
has just
new.
become a new, as you said, it's a new CRT. It's the
But
business
they are
world
winning
CRT.
That war. They're winning that Cold War. That's the difference. The anti-woke are influencing outcomes the way that they're doing it.
I will say this: they
and
do have
the woke are not.
You might be right. They have a brilliant video on one of their obscure websites where they actually they talk to quote unquote Los Angeles residents, which is code for black people. They only speak to black people. And they ask them if they've ever heard of ESG, and they all say no. And then they also ask them, does ESG help black people? And the black people laugh at them. That's their.
Hold on.
I think we
I'm
got to
actually-
end on that. Yeah.
Let's end on that. So I'm going to sign us off because you got nothing. No one should get anything out of this show.
But did we help anyone with this today? Is this informative?
What the help is the fight you're fighting is not some giant movement of anti-woke. It is a few backers, and if you use 1 nanosecond of research, you realize we're all asking for the same thing. I actually think we should embrace our anti-woke brethren. We should start saying,
we are them.
Agree. We
They're
agree.
they're writing
it
the
should
same
be more
articles.
Transparency. You wrote the same article we did.
Welcome
with
to
the fold.
Yeah, we're with
you.
We too want more transparency, as does the entire ESG industry.
And guess what? If we make a different decision with the data that we get from that transparency, that's
all good.
The point.
That's the point.
That's
yeah, there
the
is
point.
no.
So welcome to the fold. Let's all go get the data together and make our decisions. That's Damian Rallis. I am Matt Muscardi. We are Free Float Media. This was Business Pants. I'm going to sign us out by playing the 1-minute interview from the Corporate Citizenship Project, in which you are going to find out what ESG is by asking people, do you know what ESG is? They all say no, and then asking them to comment on the thing that they know nothing about. Here is that clip from them.
Have you ever heard about ESG?
No, I never heard of it.
I've never heard of ESG.
No. Not really. No.
Do you think companies who say they support ESG policies really want to do the right thing or just
They
want
said
to
no.
look good?
For the most part, I think it's
No, I don't know.
politics, and I think they just want to look good. They're not trying to help the community in no shape, form, or fashion.
What is the deal with ESG then?
I think they more so say for the media to think that they're actually doing it.
Companies are in the business of doing one thing. Bottom line, they want to make money.
All I know, it sounds like a tax write-off. Oops.
Okay.
Can't trust it.
Has the black community benefited from ESG?
Maybe not all of the black community, maybe like a 1 and 2, very few.
These corporations only come around here for the tax write-off and to get us to buy all their stuff.
That's it.
Have you
I
ever
would
heard
laugh.
about